What is up, YouTube? Thank you guys for tuning in. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from whenever you're watching. And if you're watching this video from the distant future, go buy my merch. Go support my merch. I'm sure it's really good material. I'm sure it's really good fabric, good design. Because I have good taste. Let's be real. I'm going to be real. I have good taste. So yeah. If you're new to the channel, my name is Shane Easley. Like the video if you do, comment down below your thoughts, and be sure to subscribe. It really helps the channel out. I really want to grow a little, platform here. So subscribe. So this was the video that I was going to shoot before I shot my last video. And of course, as I said to you guys, I'm going to be making a lot of commentary on my channel because I want to at least put a lot of my opinions out there. Not opinions, but things I just wanted to talk about and sort of share some views and perspective of mine that might be different from the conventional way of thinking, because I'm not necessarily a contrarian, but I do find that my ideas are typically not the popular opinions, if that makes sense. I'm not making this video because him and I have the same name. Granted, my name is spelled differently. And to be quite honest, actually, I spelled my first and middle name wrong up until like when I was 14. First, I want to say that I cannot defend Shane Dawson. Shane Dawson is not someone that I can defend because he has his fan base is much larger than anything my 5 subscribers can look at. Shane Dawson doesn't need defending from me, right? He's one of those influencers that has a fan base that would literally deep-tongued his asshole and tuck him in a bed afterwards. And no matter what situation he's in, you are going to find that he's going to have an overwhelming amount of support from his fan base, which is why I can't get the self-deprivation at all from him. He has literally no reason to doubt himself and what he's capable of. The amount of star power that he has, it freaking surpasses that of David Dobrik and rivals that of even PewDiePie. Arguably, media companies use his name for clickbait. That's how big PewDiePie is. Shane Dawson, whenever he does something, it literally changes or rocks the entire YouTube platform. So one of the first things I'm going to talk about is Shane Dawson giving his platform to people to kind of explain themselves. Persons don't like that, and persons don't think that that's something that people should be doing because they're such toxic YouTubers. And to that, I say it's complete bullshit. It's like, it makes for an interesting story, first of all, and there is no doubt in that. And I think persons generally agree with that as well. Persons have an issue with Shane Dawson giving people like Jake Paul his platform, people like Tana Mojo his platform, because it paints them in a particular light that they're the victim of certain things, and that's why they act the way they do. If there's one thing I learned in psychology, is that things are typically not always the way they seem, especially when you're dealing with young people. The way they deal with depression and deal with like anxiety and that sort of thing is very different from how like a more mature person would deal with it, or a person with a particular mindset. And so while you might see persons like Jake Paul or these toxic YouTubers acting out, and you just write it off like they're an asshole, just the same way certain influencers would write off people's comments like spam, you just don't think that they're human, and you kind of have these opinions about them, and you don't really know what is their backstory. And I think that's what the purpose of those documentaries are. It is to kind of give us, the viewers, some insight behind the scenes of these persons, and that they're not the person that you typically see on the TV. I think we forget this oftentimes, that whatever you see on TV, it's typically not the person's actual self. It's them either putting on a show or them trying to do something to get their entertainment or get their coins, for lack of a better word, right? In a lot of cases, it's not him trying to make them look good or like the victim. It's him giving them a platform to sort of explain themselves and sort of talk about things that are happening behind the scenes. And when I watched a Jake Paul documentary specifically, when he said that he would go to shows and he would see people shunning him and people wouldn't want to talk to him, like other YouTubers and that sort of thing wouldn't want to talk to him. Like, and I'm not trying to defend Jake Paul here. Just let me put that out. I am not trying to defend Jake Paul or Logan Paul, any of the Paul brothers for that matter. I don't mess with them. I don't really watch them. I don't watch them, period. Unless like they're in news or something, I don't really care about the Jake Paul brothers or the Paul brothers, or whatever they're called. I do think that their content is toxic for YouTube. I do not give a shit about the Paul brothers. And this is not a video of me defending them at all. Let me just make that clear, okay? The reason I'm saying this is because there are always two sides to a story. And even when you're looking at teens, persons in school, even the bullies, they're typically dealing with something, but they don't know how to deal with it. And as a result, they act the way they do. And I think the way that Shane Dawson goes about it, it really gives us the opportunity to look beyond that idiosyncratic attitude of theirs, what they put up in front of the TV, and see that there's something behind that. There is a person behind that. It's not that they're a victim. It's that they just need proper guidance. And sometimes if this is done right, then of course that guidance can be given to them. It's a much more mature type of content than these stupid things that most persons do these days. And I respect it. I think that it definitely can be done better because there are certain fundamentals that are missing. First of all, I hate the fact that there are in so many parts. That is ridiculously annoying. And for the most part, it's a bunch of clickbaits. I will say that. I think the approach is what's important, and the approach is what he has that is, I think, commendable. But I think the execution is where things sort of fall down, because while he is giving like a backstory and he is kind of giving us the opportunity to see behind whatever they're putting at the forefront, a lot of what happens in it is it sort of amounts to be nothing. I think the only successful set of documentaries, in my opinion, that I've ever really seen of his is the one with his father, the one with Tana Mojo. Probably the first documentary with Jeffree Star. I think that one we did get to see a bit more. We did get to learn more about Jeffree Star, and I think that's when I first really learned about Jeffree Star and about who he is, and beyond the whole glam and the drama and that sort of thing. That's the first time I got to know who Jeffree Star was. I think those were somewhat successful documentaries and a successful execution, relatively successful execution of giving the viewers the opportunity to understand who that person is and what's going on behind the scenes. But when it comes to the other documentaries, I think they fell really flat because they were set up to be something that persons really were interested in finding out more details about, but then it ended up being nothing much, or just something that's not vastly different from what was publicized or what was advertised, but something that wasn't as expected, if that makes sense. By the way, the Eugene one, the girl with that was with that disorder, I think that was a pretty good one as well. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is the idea of that persons have that Shane Dawson is being put on a pedestal in terms of he's supposed to be like this wise oracle of YouTube, where persons are like, they go to him for advice, they go to him for like guidance and that sort of thing. And people think that that shouldn't be happening because he's not either a qualified person to make those predictions. For example, with the whole Logan Paul situation, persons were like, he's not qualified to make those diagnoses and that sort of thing. And he shouldn't be like the person people go to for advice and that sort of thing. And I completely disagree with that. And first I want to talk about the one with him pronouncing Jake Paul as a sociopath. Like, that was something that was going around the community a lot. I agree he isn't qualified to make a diagnosis on him, but that was the purpose of the therapist who was with Shane Dawson. I think she got overwhelmed with being in the spotlight like that. And she kind of, in my opinion, abandoned a lot of her practices or things that you're supposed to be doing as a therapist. By the way, I did study psychology, if you haven't picked it up already in this video. She wasn't like doing the things that she's supposed to be doing. And I think as a result, they sort of strayed away from what they were supposed to be doing initially. Definitely Shane Dawson is not authorized or not qualified to make a pronouncement like that. But it doesn't necessarily mean that he cannot tell someone when they have attributes of a particular condition, if I should say so. I'm sure each of us have a friend that we go to for certain advice or certain guidance or direction, and they're not qualified to make that. Like, friends, I have friends who come, I'm not by any means a medical professional, I'm not certified, but I have a lot of knowledge in science. And as a result, a lot of my friends will come to me and ask me questions about, oh, I'm experiencing this symptom or experiencing this or this is happening to me. And because of that, I would be able to help give them guidance on whatever they would need to be, whatever needs to be addressed. And that's a perfect segue into persons thinking that Shane Dawson is put on a pedestal, as in he shouldn't be the one that people go to for advice. I think they're just being haters, to be quite honest. Each of us have someone in our circle who we go to for moral advice, more guidance. And let me say something. Let me say this. You don't need to be a perfect individual to be able to give moral advice to people. You don't need to be the perfect one to tell people when they're doing something wrong. A lot of times the persons who can best give you advice are persons who are experiencing that struggle or who have experienced that struggle. And there's one thing that person should understand. Not everyone can be your friend. Not everyone can be your lover. But pretty much everyone can be your teacher. There's always something to learn from people, and we should be a bit more humble to understand that. And I just generally think people are hating on Shane Dawson when it comes to this. Not because if he has a friend, Tana Mojo is his friend, James Charles is his friend, Jeffree Star is his friend, all these persons are his friend, and they see him as the guy that they can go to for song advice. And maybe he does give them song advice. I think that he probably can be a bit realer with them, because I think if Jeffree Star is going to him for advice and he's doing what he's doing now, Shane Dawson, you need to fix your advice. Again, when it comes to Shane Dawson and his fandoms, no matter what he does, even if there is controversy, the amount of support is typically greater than the amount of backlash that he would ever get, even with the whole cat situation. And let me say, persons were not necessarily far from the mark to assume, at least, that Shane Dawson had did something to the cat sexually. Because I mean, there are videos with him like kissing dogs, not just kissing the dogs, but like deep throat the dog's tongue, and those are disgusting. I cannot. So persons, of course, would think that, and even so, even though persons thought that he, did that, like, it wasn't like the situation with James Charles when the entire fandom came against them or he's been cancelled. It was never that. So even if he has like a controversy, people are still going to support him regardless of. And I think he should really accept that and understand that, and not try to say it's not going to happen. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I mean, I might be the one who is mistaken in this whole situation, but let me know in the comments below. Like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. That is my multiple personalities talking right there. Comment this emoji in the comments below if you made it to the end of the video. And that's pretty much it. Look forward for more videos, weekly videos from me. I seem to be on my schedule because I am filming today. And I hope I upload this video within a day of me filming it, because yeah. Thank you guys for watching, and enjoy the rest of your whenever you're watching.